about the domino effect today. All right, now what is the domino effect? Well, imagine or remember when you were a little girl and you had all those black and white dominoes and you'd stack them, and then you'd hit one on one end and it would go and it would knock them all down. Do you remember playing with dominoes? I mean, I'm a millennial and I remember playing with dominoes. Maybe you haven't. All right, maybe that's too far back. But that's the best example I've got of the domino effect, all right? You take these little pieces of a puzzle, if you're playing a different domino game, and then some action happens, some force is taken on one side of one of the dominoes, and then the momentum carries through all of the other dominoes. That's exactly what my life has been like, especially since I started getting into real estate investing. All right? So imagine, if you will, the dominoes lined up. And let's say the first couple dominoes are leads. And the next set of dominoes, let's say those are, marketing materials, or it's you going to a boot camp or a seminar or watching YouTube videos or something. Like all of these dominoes are lots of different things that you're doing, but nothing will happen if you don't make the decision and put some force on the end of one of those dominoes, and then they'll all start to fall. Okay? So the domino effect in real estate investing a lot of times starts as just a little idea in the back of your head that says, you know what? I think I'd like to go buy a rental house. Maybe I could be a landlord. And from that one idea, that's a seed, but that's the first domino. And then you start watching videos on YouTube. You start following Whitney Nicely, Whitney Buys Houses on Instagram. You start following me on Facebook. You join the Become a Real Estate Investor group on Facebook. And all these dominoes start to line up. And you start collecting all of this information. And you start looking around on Zillow for what's for sale. You start looking around on Craigslist for what's for sale. You start noticing empty houses on your drive to work. You start seeing for sale by owner signs on the way to pick up the kids. Like, all of these little things start to be dominoes, and it starts to feel like there's some momentum building, and then all of a sudden there's a gap in the dominoes. And the gap is from where you've been seeing all these dominoes lining up, and you're seeing all this momentum, and you know that you start to get some force on it, and the momentum is carrying it, and all the dominoes are falling, but then there's a gap. That last domino falls, and it doesn't fall on another domino. There's a gap. And that's where I find a lot of ladies. Maybe they've had dominoes stacked up for 10, 20, 30 years. Maybe they've had flip houses. Maybe they're a real estate agent. Maybe they've bought a rental house. Maybe they've done some private money lending. Maybe they've just been to a bunch of boot camps. Maybe they've done a lot of different stuff. But I find them in the gap. For some reason, their momentum has stopped. And they can see that there's more dominoes in their life ready to fall, but they can't figure out how to go from where the dominoes stopped to where they can pick up that domino effect again and lay it on down. Lay it faster, lay it by two. You could get 2 domino lines going at the same time. You could get 3 domino lines going at the same time. You can make it go a lot further. But they're stuck in the gap. And they don't know how to get that force going for a second wind. And that's where I come in. I've been there, ladies. I have had all my dominoes lined up and everything's going great, and then suddenly something stopped. And I had to figure out how to revamp it, how to get going again. I had to find maybe a different strategy, maybe a different honey hole, maybe a different seller, maybe a different attorney, maybe a different contract, maybe a different contractor. The gaps happen. And if you're in the middle of a gap, I'm here to help you. I bought 2 houses in the first year I decided I was going to be a real estate investor. And then I ran out of money. And I had this gap between I'd gotten started in real estate investing. I'd had this momentum. I closed these 2 houses, but I was out of money. I was in a gap. But I could see more opportunity out there. I could see more money to be made out there. I could see the possibilities. But I was stuck in the gap. And for me, the filler in the gap became creative financing. I didn't want to go to the banks and get a loan. I didn't want to work with real estate agents and look at everything that was on the market that had been picked over by the other investors. I wanted to figure out how to be a super successful real estate investor without using my license, without using my bank connections. I had money. I could have borrowed money. I could have borrowed money. I was flat broke out of my life savings, so I wouldn't have had the 20% to put down. But I could have gone to a bank. I could have pulled in a private money partner and then gone and done the regular thing. I could have bought houses off the MLS, but I didn't want to. I wanted to find those super sweet deals that nobody even knew existed. I wanted out of the gap and into the promised land. I wanted into the good side. I wanted into that inner circle of successful real estate investors in my town, and I wanted to show them what this girl has got. I filled the gap with creative financing. I tripled down on going to boot camps and seminars and learning how to say and how to structure these weird deals that actually aren't that weird. They're just not what's advertised most of the time. And I was able to buy 14 houses in the next year. So I went from having momentum and getting 2 houses and having my domino effect going to a gap, and I was stuck because I didn't have the money to put down to go to the bank. I had the credit, but I didn't have any money, and I didn't want to bring in any partners. I was in a gap. And the only way for me to fill the gap and get that force of action going onto my next set of dominoes was to learn everything I could about creative financing. That's owner financing, wholesaling, lease options, seller financing, seller carryback, private money lending. Like, there's a whole other world out there besides regular real estate. And once I figured that out, my gap shrunk. I was able to put the momentum back into my plan, get those dominoes going in all sorts of different things. We went up and down hills, we went around turns, we went up and down, we went over obstacles. The domino effect just sprawled out. And that's what I want for you. Creative financing is that gap that can help you get going again. Can get your momentum going again. Or maybe you haven't even tried to get into investing yet and you just want to know how to get started quickly, easily. How do I make $13,000 in 5 weeks? Well, I'll show you. You got to get that domino effect in there though. You got to get your mind right. It starts with that seed. You're doing really good by being here and watching these videos. This is clearly a good sign that you got your dominoes lined up and you're ready to put that force of momentum to them to make them fall on over, right? My name is Whitney Nicely. I am the broker for Whitney Buys Houses. I don't work like a regular real estate agent. I focus on buying houses so that I can create monthly income without working a job. Mailbox money, inbox money. It's actually just notification money. That's what I want for you. I want to help you get your dominoes in line. I want to help bridge your gap. I want to help you not just look at one domino line going out into the future, but I want you to have 14 different domino lines going out into the future. I want you to make that money, honey. I want you to have everything you've ever imagined in your wildest dreams to come true. And I want to help you do that through real estate investing. Find out more about me. You can go to whitneynicely.com. You can book a call to talk to one of the ladies on my team at Whitney Buys Houses so that we can help you get your deals done super duper fast. Get your dominoes lined up, ladies. I'll help you knock them on down and skip that gap. Bye, y'all.